I hope, and I would imagine that will change tonight.
We're underway on 5 Live, and don't forget, coming up after 10 o'clock tonight, the focus on these clubs languishing near the bottom of the table. We're asking, should your club change manager, or are you happy with the man who's in charge? And I wonder if Crystal Palace or Fulham fans' opinion on that will change over the course of the next 90 minutes here. Fulham and Crystal Palace have both made changes tonight. Fulham coming on the first attack of the game down the left-hand side, and Kasami chases the ball, puts pressure on Joel Ward, who slices his clearance out for a throw-in, and Fulham will remain on the attack down the left-hand side. 3 changes for Crystal Palace tonight, all attacking players who come in: Gale, Bolasie and Puncheon. We think Bolasie will be left-hand side, Puncheon on the right, and Dwight Gale through the centre. Crystal Palace's record signing, £4.5 million. We're told the fee can rise to £8.5 million that Peterborough would receive, depending on how successful he is. And already he's got 2 goals this season, which puts him as Crystal Palace's top scorer for the campaign. Fulham have possession of the back with Hangeland just stretching his legs up towards the halfway line. There are 4 changes in Martin Yall's team tonight. I'll give you a full rundown of the teams in just a moment, but Stekelenburg is back in goal, just his second appearance for Fulham. He's played under Martin Yall in the past in Ajax. Scott Parker is back in the midfield, a lot of experience there, which could be important tonight. And Kasami replacing Damien Duff out wide with Darren Bent starting. Now here comes the first proper break of the game for Palace, attacking into the penalty area on the right hand side. It's a low shot, it didn't have much power on it, and it was Jason Puncheon saved by Martin Stekelenburg.
Gale actually, it's a great run from Gale down the right. I mean, I don't quite know what Hangeland's doing, and as he turned, made no effort to get goal side. Gale doesn't really make his mind up, just jinks to the right, but doesn't really open himself up or get an angle, and it's a sort of half a sclappy sort of shot, which the Fulham keeper falls upon and saves quite easily.
For the Crystal Palace line-up in full, Speroni the goalkeeper, back 4 of Joel Ward, Adrian Mariappa, Damien Delaney and Dean Moxey. In midfield, Stuart O'Keefe, Mila Jedinak, the Australian, and Jose Campagna, the Spaniard, with Puncheon, Gale and Bolasie up front. To the Fulham team, and they're playing 4-2-3-1. Rita is the right back, Senderos, Hangeland and Richardson in defence. Parker and Sidwell in midfield, with Kasami and Ruiz on the flanks, and Berbatov in behind Darren Bent. Dimitar Berbatov has scored in the Capital One Cup this season, but he's yet to get his account underway for the campaign in the Premier League. He scored 15 times in all last season for Fulham. This is Rita at right back for Fulham, their traditional white jerseys, dark shorts. The ball is played long towards Berbatov. He doesn't challenge for it, and it's put out of play for a Fulham throw near the halfway line. 3 minutes to the clock. Crystal Palace 0, Fulham 0 on 5 Live. The ball is thrown to the feet of Berbatov. Little nonchalant flick of the outside of the right boot to give it back to Rita, and then Sidwell will turn and return possession into the Fulham half. Hangeland to the left back, Richardson, and then back into the centre again. And Palace happy for Fulham to keep the ball deep in their own half, but getting very tight as soon as Fulham get to the halfway line. Sidwell lays the ball off to Parker, bright yellow boots tonight. Again, Fulham have to turn back into their own half. To Rita, the right fullback. Berbatov is set off on a run, and then look of disdain as the pass doesn't come his way after he's put that effort in down the left-hand side. Richardson has possession on the left for Fulham, then back to Hangeland again, and Fulham are holding on to possession here, Steve, but they're not penetrating at all.
Well, no, they've gone 4-5-1 or 4-2-3-1. Palace, and they're basically just allowing the 3 at the back to get the ball. Parker's just coming off and making a 3. 2 centre-halves, and then just playing the ball around. But Palace, as you say, not worried about possessioning the other people's halves, but as soon as it comes into their own, then all of a sudden they're shutting the play down.
Fulham have failed to score in their last 2 away games in the Premier League. Not much of a journey tonight to another part of South London, but they've got to find the net early here. Let's see what Kasami can do. Just outside the D. Very strong challenge comes in from Jedniak. A chance of a counter-attack now for Crystal Palace. It's over to the left-hand side. This is Yannick Bolasie. Crowd on their feet. Skips around one challenge. Then another. Bolasie taken down on the edge of the D. He was just about to pull the trigger, and that Fulham defence were terrified. They've hacked him to the ground, and it's the first dangerous set piece of the game. It's Crystal Palace 0, Fulham 0.
It's a good little break there. And Bolasie cuts in from the left-hand side, jinks, and Parker goes to ground. All of a sudden, Sidwell then has committed himself into the tackle, He goes past Sybil, and Sybil just raises a leg as he goes past him and brings him down. And this is a certainly a half-decent chance.
Yes, Crystal Palace getting bodies forward here, but it does look to be a shooting position, 7 or 8 yards outside the penalty area. If that, the wall is going to have to line up a few paces inside the box.
Central though, isn't it?
Yeah, just to the left of the tee. And Campagna standing over it, and Jedinak, such an impressive player, the number 15, the Australian, who won possession of the edge of the Palace penalty area and started that counter-attack. He's standing over it too, very purposefully. Moxie is to the right of the ball, but it looks like it's going to be Campagna or Jedinak, and Campagna runs up and it hits the top of the wall and it spins over the crossbar and out for the first corner of the game. Corner to Crystal Palace on the left-hand side, 6 minutes exactly on the clock.
Yeah, it's a nice positive start. I mean, what they're doing is, as I said, they're just like making life very, very difficult for Fulham when Fulham get the ball and start to play in the Crystal Palace half, and then just looking to break with the pace that they've got.
To the corner from the left-hand side, Campagna preparing to take it. The young Spaniard, good delivery, low trajectory, but headed away on the edge of the 6-yard box. It comes back out to Campagna on the left. He's now slipped it down the touchline for Puncheon to get to. That's a very dangerous stuff, and the ball is headed into the back of the net, and it's the opening goal. Is it Ward?
Mariappa.
Adrian Mariappa got the header on the back post and reels away in celebration towards the corner flag. Crystal Palace have scored within inside of 7 minutes, and the break started by Chetniak outside the penalty area, which won the free kick, which in turn won the corner, and then a very dangerous cross from Puncheon, and it's the big defender, Adrian Mariappa, who makes it Crystal Palace 1, Fulham 0.
You have a look at this jump. You get to see this on TV. You have a look at the jump here. It's above Hangeland. It's about 1.5 foot above Hangeland. So really, really good jump from a loopy ball as well. Which as Puncheon goes to put it in, I'm not sure if it's Berbatov we're talking about. I think he goes to close it down. Just hits the top of his foot and loops into the box. And all of a sudden, Mariappa has a little bit of a run. I think that's where he's got the advantage. He gets up early and soars above Hangeland, which is nowhere near the size of Hangeland, and it's a good finish.
Well, Adrian Mariappa scored his first ever Premier League goal last season for his old club Reading against Stoke. Here he's opened his account tonight for Crystal Palace, and Sellers Park is rocking as Fulham take a corner, which Berbatov heads up into the air. Goalkeeper appears to be pushed, and the referee has awarded a free kick out. Well, these Crystal Palace fans really enjoyed it. Such an important night for the club, and they've gotten off to the perfect start with Adrian Mariappa's early goal.
That's exactly the way that I imagine the game would start. As I said, like the other 2 games I've come here, it's been a game against better quality opposition, but it's just been a containment exercise right from the start. Never at any stage did you feel like they believe they could win the game. Tonight, all of a sudden, there's a game plan that actually allows them to go and express themselves as well, not just to contain the opposition. And already we've seen them break twice, 2 or 3 times, where they've caused problems at the back for Fulham.
Well, last time out, Fulham beat Stoke, and that ended a run of 1 point from 5 matches. And I know the youth Fulham owner, Saeed Khan, has been tentatively backing his manager, but this will put pressure on Martin Yall. Crystal Palace 1, Fulham 0. 5 live from the BBC. Don't forget, later on tonight, after 10 o'clock, we'll be opening the phone lines earlier than that to get you on the air. The focus, the club's languishing near the bottom of the table, and we're asking what clubs feel that they should be changing their manager. So we'll give you the details later on as to how you can get involved. If you want to join the Twitter debate, go hashtag MNC for the Monday Night Club, and of course we do want to hear from Middlesbrough fans tonight as well.
If we just Premiership, can we not open it up a little bit more?
Well, absolutely.
I mean, anybody at the bottom of the league anywhere, could you ring in and tell us exactly what the problem is, or what you think the problem is?
Well, Middlesbrough fans will have their views on Tony Mowbray leaving the club tonight. And often, boards can get criticised for not giving managers enough time, and you say it's too early in the season to think about changing. Well, we want to hear your views. Do you want your manager to remain involved if your club is languishing at the wrong end of the table?
Give us a reason why as well. Don't just say get rid of him. There's a little bit more to it than that. Tell us exactly why you think that he should go if needs be.
10 minutes on the clock. It's Crystal Palace 1, Fulham 0. Adrian Mariappa's early goal here. Palace have possession with Companion, but he's been beaten to the ball by Sidwell. This is better from Fulham as Sidwell tears away down the left touchline now. Companion's trying to stay with it. Sidwell gets all the way to the corner flag now, and eventually the ball goes out of play, and that is going to be a throw-in right down by the corner flag for Crystal Palace. A big cheers from their fans down in that particular corner of this stadium. It's a good atmosphere here under the lights. It's not a cold evening at all here in South London. And the Crystal Palace fans enjoying what they're seeing here so far. And Fulham really yet to get into the game and string a few passes together.
They won't expect, I mean, they're not expecting, they haven't come here and expect Brazil. They don't expect miracles from this side. But what they do expect is what we've just seen from Jose Campana there. He followed Sidwell all the way back, 60 yards. Kept hassling him and trying to get the ball off him and not allowing him the time or space to put the ball in the box, and then he wins it back. That's what they expect, you know, over and above that. You know, come out, wear the shirt, give us 100%. I'll tell you what, we'll stick with you and we'll live with that, and then hopefully we have a little bit of quality to keep us in the game.
Crystal Palace looking for what would be only their second win of the season. They beat Sunderland here back in August. They've had to wait since then to celebrate once more. But they've given themselves a good platform here. Long, long way to go, of course, to the 5 line. Here come Palace now with the Bolasie on the charge through the centre. Lays the ball off and then Punchian tries to attack into the penalty area. Joel Ward has come forward from right back. And then Hangeland tries to be clever by the corner flag and has given the ball away for Fulham. Now can Palace produce a cross here? Bolasie, little drag back to himself. Clever footwork, ball ricochets up into the air. And it should be controlled here and cleared away. And Fulham eventually clear their line, but only out for a throw. A Crystal Palace throw inside the Fulham half. Palace have started well here.
Interesting the reaction we've got. It was a real scrappy phase of play, but it was all heart and effort from Palace to shut the opposition down. In the end, they get a throw out of it. The crowd reacts to that as much as they do a really good bit of play. But I appreciate people giving that 100% and that effort.
Stuart O'Keefe just skipped over a challenge there, was caught by a dangling leg. So Crystal Palace have been awarded a free kick here, 10 yards outside the penalty area, wide on the right-hand side. Palace leading 1-0. The goal coming from defender Adrian Mariappa. Now here comes the free kick from out wide on the right towards Jedinak, who's at the back post. Tries to nod it back into a more central location. O'Keefe tried to help it on. Deflects off a Fulham defender. Moxie holds on to possession here for Crystal Palace. And then Punchian tries to play a clever little reverse pass. He was looking to release Jedinak. It was intercepted by Ruiz, and then he's fouled. So a free kick to Fulham, which they take quickly. Ruiz into Scott Parker. Parker onto Sidwell, and then they turn and give it back to the defender Hangeland, and now Fulham go long, looking for Gareth Bent, who's hardly had a touch in the game so far, but that's easily intercepted by Damien Delaney, and Crystal Palace work the ball back into the Fulham half. Here comes Fulham again though, and this is Kasami on the left-hand side, beaten to the ball, and a chance of another lightning-fast attack for Crystal Palace. Bolasie's full of tricks, does a little step over, gets past one defender, and then Steve Sidwell slides in, and a last-gasp challenge to put it out for a Crystal Palace throw. Such acceleration from Bolasie, and twisted blood for the defenders.
Yeah, when you go up to this level, it's better that you're a master of some things in your game than a jack of all trades. Because that master of something can cause the opposition problems, and that's what Crystal Palace are doing.
Crystal Palace have come into this game tonight, second from bottom in the table, just 3 points to their name. Their start here suggests that they feel they are better than the table implies.
Well, this is as good a balance as I've seen Palace. It's a little bit shapeless when I've watched them before. A few people playing out of position hasn't quite worked. But tonight, you can understand exactly his reasoning as to why he's gone the way he has.
I think Yannick Bolasie's been a big change. Tonight his first Premier League start to the campaign, just one substitute appearance this season before time. I mean, he was one of the big players. Obviously, we mentioned Glenn Murray and Wilfried Zaha as well, but Bolasie was a very important player, chipped in with goals as well. Here comes Palace, they've got a great start here. Stuart O'Keefe tests the goalkeeper with a stinging shot that shoots off target. But Crystal Palace winning 50-50 challenges, running at defenders, having a go at goal as well. They've had a very good start in this game.
Yeah, I'm looking at Fulham, and they're almost set up like Southampton, if you can imagine. And when we said about the two sitting midfielders and then the four playing very, very forward-looking. The two wingers pushed high, don't track in, don't track their runners, don't tuck in when the ball's the other side. And they look really open when Crystal Palace get goal side of Sidwell and Parker. All of a sudden they're straight onto the back four, and there's runners from midfield coming that are not tracked. It's a lopsided look to Fulham. It's a very positive look, but also they've got to have possession, and you've got to get the ball to these players, or they're going to become almost peripheral in this game.
We've played quarter of an hour. Palace 1, Fulham 0 on 5 Live. If you missed the team news earlier on, Martin Yall has named an attacking lineup himself. I mean, 4 attacking players. They've got Cassani on the left, Ruiz on the right, Bench through the centre with Berbatov just in behind him.
Look how wide
those attacking players aren't getting the ball.
Well, look how wide Ruiz is here.
Way over the right-hand side.
Right on the other side, and yet he's so far this side, he cannot get involved in the game at this stage.
1 goal this season for Brian Ruiz, who was a cracker, but he's not seen much of the ball in this wide right position so far this evening. Crystal Palace have possession, they have the lead. Damien Delaney just outside the penalty area, and this time the obstacle long. It's a very ambitious ball over towards the far touchline, and it's going to bounce and go out of play, but there is arms raised and a clap from Jason Punchin, who was the player chasing after that, to Damien Delaney to say that's the right idea. I want to see a few more balls like that. Fulham have a throw-in, left full back position for them.
There's pace as well, isn't there? And you look at Balasik, Gale's already shown that Punchin can do hang-a-lan any time he likes. Punchin's got pace. So all of a sudden, they don't. It's not a case of having to get people in support. If you can find an out ball and get it to them, they'll make something with that because of that pace.
Fulham slow to break out of their own half. Rita received a pass, players running ahead of him, but he's held it up and given a lateral ball infield to Sidwell, and everything has come through Sidwell and Parker so far. Let's see what Hangeland does here. Looks up for options, passes it 10 yards to his right to Senderos. Senderos creeps towards the halfway line, turns, gives it back to Rita. Another backwards pass from Rita to Senderos, across the back four again. And Crystal Palace aren't doing any major pressing here, but Fulham midway inside their own half, struggling just to get into their opponent's half. Here is Sidwell, who manages to do so. Now Ruiz with a first-time touch towards Darren Bent, and a crunching tackle comes in from Damien Delaney, and that's the end of that for Fulham.
They're just congesting the central areas, aren't they, Crystal Palace? That's all they're doing. And if Fulham can't work the wide areas and get those wide players onto the ball, where I'm not totally sure that either of them are massively are wingers per se, should we say, because their movement doesn't say that they're actually, doing enough to get on the ball.
Here's Berbatov, first time we've seen him dribbling, gets into the penalty area on the right-hand side, has support from Rieter, long legs from Berbatov, holds onto possession, but he's been forced out to the touchline. Jedinak just doing a wonderful shepherding role there, just pushing Berbatov away from danger. He wasn't lunging in trying to win the ball, he was just making sure that he steered Fulham's number 9 away from a shooting position.
Absolute standout for me, Jedinak, at this stage of the season for Crystal Palace. A real shining light for them so far.
Australia have qualified for the World Cup already, haven't they? I mean, he'll be a player to watch. I can't wait to see how he gets on for Australia at the big stage next summer. As long ball is played forward towards Gale, who's in an offside position. And that was unfortunate for Palace because Gale had laid off an ice flick to punch him, and there's warm applause around Sellers Park as they like what they're seeing from their team tonight.
I mean, Moxie's 60-yard diag ball there was magnificent, wasn't it? And to be fair to Gale, he should be looking along the line. There's 3 players in front of him. All he's got to do is make sure he stays on side.
Oh, that's a brilliant shot! Into the back of the net, and what a goal for Fulham! Completely against the run of play, Patrick Cassani has struck a shot from a wicked angle, looped over the goalkeeper. We've seen quite a few spectacular goals this weekend, but that is something exceptional. He's only 15 yards from the byline, if that. He's way out on the right-hand side, and he has struck a rocket over the keeper into the top corner. That is a special goal. He took it on the chest, hits it on the volley before the ball hit the ground, and a lightning-fast counter-attack. Rita's long ball chested on for himself by Cassani, and you will not see a better strike than that in the Premier League this season. Wonderful goal. Palace 1, Fulham 1.
Wow, I mean, that is just absolutely magnificent. And we were saying about Brian Ruiz staying wide when the ball was the opposite side. Well, Kasumi suddenly decides that he's not going to have that. He's going to come right from one side to the other. He gets on a long diagonal ball, takes it in his stride, with it under pressure, with a player to his left. And to be fair, I'm looking at it thinking, I think Marietta actually thinks, I've done all right.
They come again. Richardson, left-hand side, early ball into the penalty area. And this time Speroni gets down and makes sure Darren Bent can't get anywhere near it. Speroni could not get anywhere near that. I mean, from a striker's point of view, the technique needed to do that at full pace.
Brilliant. I mean, like I say, it's come from left to right. Decided he's going to get involved in the game. It's a wonderful ball forward, but he takes it on in his stride. Full pace, one touch, and so I think Marietta thinks I'm doing all right. I've tracked the run. I don't need to dive in it. I just smacks it on the angle, 22 yards over the top of Speroni, who's an excellent keeper. Nothing wrong with his positioning. But what an absolute, so good. I think we're all just looking at open mouth.
I'll tell you what, that was special. And I mean, it hadn't been coming in any way, shape, or form. First, decent ball forward for Fulham. They'd not had a touch of anger inside the Crystal Palace penalty area, the opening stages of the game. But that is very special. I'm sure our listeners will be looking forward to getting to see television pictures of that at some stage later on. But after great goals this weekend, I mean, Jack Wilshere scored a very special tiki-taka goal, and I'm sure many of our listeners will have seen that Zlatan Ibrahimovic volleyed back heel. But this is right up there in terms of spectacular and unorthodox. I mean, usually when players try that, it ends up in row K. But that was a fantastic effort. Here's a Fulham corner from the left-hand side. Sendros gets up. Berbatov is in touch. He claims it's come off a defender. Referee says so. And that's going to be a goal kick to Crystal Palace. And it's 1-1. And this is shaping up to be quite a contest tonight on 5 Live.
I mean, there is, for this stage of the season, there is an awful lot on this game, isn't there? For everybody involved. I think you know your luck's out and you can see the goal like that from a Palace perspective, just when they were looking strong in control of the game, and then that happens, bang, and all of a sudden, you know, you're back on level terms.
Let's see how Crystal Palace responds to conceding. As the Stuart O'Keefe comes forward, but he's tackled on the edge of the penalty area, and now Fulham will break up to the half-one, and more purpose about them now than we saw in the opening stages. Richardson to the left-hand side to Kasami, the scorer of that quite magnificent goal. Richardson's been challenged off the ball, he's fallen to the ground. Referee says play on. Berbatov drops feet, outstretched arms, he wants the ball, gets it, plays a little 1-2 with Ruiz. Berbatov on the ball again, midway inside the Crystal Palace half. Rita, who'll claim the assist for that marvellous goal, involved again on the right-hand side, and then it breaks down just on the edge of the penalty area, and little Campagna is helped out here by Balassi, but Fulham are hungrier now, and they win possession back. Sidwell, a powerful pass that was difficult to control by Kasami, and then he takes another snapshot at goal. This one deflects out by the corner flag, and I presume out for a corner. I didn't see what side of the corner flag that went out, but the defenders are going back as if it's a corner. So corner to Fulham on the left-hand side, and it's 1-1 here on 5 Live.
I don't know whether it's Fulham that have taken a massive jump from the goal in a positive sense, or it's just not Palace, and they're just having to regroup a little bit and just find themselves again, because they're certainly on the back foot.
Midway point in the first half. Fulham's corner on the left. It's 1-1 here on 5 Live. Mariappa with the opener for Crystal Palace. And the corner is swung in, it's headed up into the air by Kasami, who scored the equaliser for Fulham tonight, and it breaks down, and chance of a counter-attack. Jedinak goes long, looking for Gale, it's been intercepted, Fulham have it back under control, and with the midway point just past here at Sellers Park, John Motson will talk you through to half-time on 5 Live.
Well, a London derby to say the least, full of action, and for the first 15 minutes, I thought Crystal Palace were just so on top that Fulham weren't even in the game. But Haikim Kasami, who I thought was their best player when they beat Stoke in the previous game, scores a goal that will be talked about for a very long time, and I hope the Swiss manager's watching, because I think he's a contender for their World Cup team. Anyway, the ball's gone out of play on the away to our left for a goal kick to Fulham. I mean, Steve, the way Palace started, that goal for Fulham came out of completely nowhere.
Absolutely. I mean, we were all really being quite positive about Palace and the way they were controlling the game, and to be fair, John, it's just knocked him for 6, hasn't it? I mean, it looks a completely different game. The complexion of the game has changed literally from that goal. All of a sudden, you know, Fulham have taken something from it. They're stretching the game. People are now trying to get on the ball and wanting to play, and it's Palace who've just got to just take a breath and go, right, hold on, let's just stay in this game for 5 minutes and let's try and then work our way back into it.
well, a good omen for Fulham is that Kasami's other goal this season was away to Sunderland on the opening weekend, and that was the only time Fulham have managed to win away. So there's one thing, and the other thing to be said is that Fulham didn't in the whole of last season come from behind to win a league game, but they might tonight. Here's Sidwell, and it's Parker playing the ball forward from the midfield. Fulham attacking the goal to our right. A crossing here meant for Ruiz, but it went behind him. Palace moving out, just down in front of us on their left with Moxey approaching the halfway line. It goes to Jason Punchin in the left wing position. Punchin plays it back to Damien Delaney at centre-back for Crystal Palace. It was his centre-back partner Mariappa who scored the goal for Palace after 7 minutes. But Fulham have won it back, or Palace have rather given it away, I should say. And here's Kasami again, this time attacking the other side of the Palace penalty area, but he's pushed one of the Palace players over, Ward. So it's going to be a free kick to Palace, Steve.
I think the difference between this game, John, and the other two that I came to, Swansea and Tottenham, when they went behind in those games, there was a reaction from the crowd because the expectation was that, it was always going to be a tough game here. This one, it's not a crowd that sits, doesn't it? Everything's just gone a little bit quiet because I think everybody's well aware of how important this game is, and this is a game that they have to get points from.
Well, absolutely. The way Balassi and particularly Gale started, I thought Palace were really up for it, and Fulham weren't in it at all. But my word, how a game can change in just one moment. As they say, it only takes a second to score a goal, and certainly the one that Kasami got tonight, it will be up there with the goals of the season. Campagna's on the ball on the halfway line for Crystal Palace. They played it back to Mariappa, halfway inside his own half, as we look from our high position at the back of the main stand at Selhurst Park, deep into south of East London, of course, this ground, bordering on the Surrey border, and we're back now with Campagna in midfield for Crystal Palace. He's on the halfway line as they try to build, but they don't look anything like as confident and as bold as they did in that opening quarter of an hour. The goal has really hit them hard. Damien Delaney plays it forward now. He's looking for Gale, but that's headed away by Hangeland, and then it goes to Kasami. Ward challenges him. The play's on the far side of the field. We've been going 27 minutes on Monday Night Football on 5 Live. It's Crystal Palace 1, Fulham 1 in this London derby between two teams who started the night in the bottom 4. Palace below Fulham, of course. Fulham could move up a few places if they were to win this. Here's Gale for Crystal Palace in the centre-forward position. Decision by Holloway tonight to leave out Cameron Jerome and Marouane Chamakh and play Gale as the main striker with Balassi on one side and Punchin on the other. Quite a bold selection, but as is, of course, that of Martin Jol to play Bent and Berbatov, which he hasn't been doing of late. And as Steve said, Kasami and Ruiz almost patrolling the wide positions. Palace have the ball halfway inside the Fulham half. It's Campagna. Nice little ball into Gale on the edge of the box. A couple of players tumble over there. Campagna tries to win it back. He wins a throw-in on the far side for Crystal Palace. That's their right, and it's down by the corner flag. Quite a way away from us as Joel Ward goes down to get the ball. Throws it in now to Campagna, who's having a good little spell in the middle of the field. I saw him play at Stoke the other week, and he looked quite useful. There's a cross from the right-hand side for Palace. Balassi with the header. No sting in it. Runs through to Stekelenburg.
Yeah, it could have been naughty, couldn't it? Because that actually hit Senderos on the knee and could have gone, if it had any real pace, it could have totally changed direction. It might have found its way into the goal, but that's probably the best move we've seen since the goal from Palace. A little bit of concerted pressure and a decent ball at the far post, and he's attacked well, but it's very difficult to get across the radio how much the stingers could have been taken from them with that goal. They just needed a little bit more to hang on to, John, didn't they? And that goal had given them that. Palace, and all of a sudden it was taken away from them.
Here's Balatos free kick. How badly Palace need a win though, eh? They've lost their last 4, they've lost 6 out of 7 in the Premier League, and this is the sort of game, looking at the fixture list, where they would expect to get something. And they've now had to retake this free kick. You're not missing anything because Lee Mason has pulled the play back, and he's going to allow Palace time to take this free kick, and it's going to be taken by, I've got to ask Mark Chapman, by the way, about this music festival. I was in a hotel in London today, and I was within striking distance of Robbie Williams. So you had in that with the free kick there. Sorry to bring that up, Mark, but you did try and associate me with another pop star last night on Match of the Day too, and I had to hold my hands up and say I didn't know him. Sorry. He'll explain this at half-time, by the way. We're not missing anything. The ball's just been dead for a couple of minutes. I couldn't resist that little a response to my presenter friend. Anyway, it's 1-1 here at Selhurst Park. If you've just joined us on 5 Live, Mariappa 7 minutes, Kasami 19 minutes, and 1-1 the score. Ian Holloway down on the touchline there. We can see him walking, hands in pockets, back from the perimeter area, looking pretty aggrieved, I would think, about the way that early rush has subsided, because Palace looked so determined and indeed dangerous in that opening period.
Tell me a bit of Van Basten look about that goal, John.
Well, do you know what? That's a great comparison, because if people are old enough to remember the goal of the 1988 European Championship final by Marco Van Basten for Holland, I've got a feeling it was a volley from an almost identical position.
No, it was a little bit cute at the
A
angle.
bit further,
yeah,
but it was a deep cross, wasn't it?
But it was certainly like that, wasn't it?
Yeah.
First time bang over top of keeper.
Yeah.
Just a lot of cuter angle. A similar type of strike, brilliant.
To recall that, Claridge, I'm rather impressed with that, to be honest, even though I was there. And Rita now has the ball for Fulham, halfway inside the Palace half with the throw-in. It's gone loose, it's gone to Ruiz. Palace clear, but belted really down the middle, more in hope than expectation for Dwight Gale. Back in the Palace half now, and Berbatov, who hardly got a touch for the first 15 minutes, has directed 1 or 2 very nice touches since Fulham got back into the game. It's just as desperate for Fulham this game, really, the way the league table stands, because even at this early stage, people are saying, who are the 3 who are going to go down? Very early, of course, in the Premier League season, got another international break to come yet. Now, Berbatov jumping on the far side of the field with Joel Ward. The ball runs back to Mariappa. He's just outside his own penalty area on the Palace right. We've been playing 31 minutes at Selhurst Park here in the Premier League. It's 1-1 between Crystal Palace and Fulham. 2 teams in trouble. And whoever loses this will be in even deeper trouble. There's no question about that. Here's Senderos for Fulham, moving forward from the centre-back position. Looks to his right to find Rita, the right-back, who's now fully signed up from Cologne, having been on loan last season. He plays the ball across to Hangeland. That's shipped forward for Berbatov. A lovely first touch by Berbatov. Out to Kasami on the far side. Fulham moving much, much better now. And here comes... and there's almost a chance for Ruiz there, Steve. He was lurking towards the 6-yard box.
Well, 2 of them got him, John, didn't they?
And Reds as well, yeah.
Both of them got the offside trap, which is a slight concern, I would imagine, for Ian Holloway, but unable, the angle of the ball is it's coming over his shoulder, actually dropping onto his right foot, and he doesn't want it there, he wants it on his left, so unable to control it. But that's a slight concern for Palace, how easily both of them got in.
I just want to ask you, Steve, when we get a break in play, how you do accommodate Bent and Berbatov, and it can't be a straightforward 4-4-2, surely, or is it?
Berbatov should come into the space, and Bent should stretch them the other way, John, shouldn't they?
Yeah. Palace have got the ball, though, just inside the Fulham half. They're trying to find Balassi on this wing. They've done so. Balassi attacks the corner of the penalty area. Curls a shot in to the middle of Kellenberg there. Comfortably taken. But Balassi, the point was made earlier by Connor that last season, Palace in the Championship was so dangerous down the flanks. Balassi and Wilfried Zaha, of course. They've not got him anymore, but they have signed Jason Puncheon, so there's plenty of experience there on the other flank. Fulham are in possession here with Rita playing the ball square to Hangeland. Fulham are in no great rush. They're pushing it around. This is Parker. Scott Parker back in action after it. And now Balassi has got the ball for Palace. He's so quick. He's approaching the Fulham penalty area. Fulham gave that away. Balassi trying to make them pay. Moxey's up from left back. That's his cross. Headed out by Senderos. And Palace will have a throw in more or less level with the Fulham penalty area here. You've just tuned in. It's 1-1 at Selhurst Park. 33 minutes gone in the London derby. And Moxey will take the throw for Crystal Palace just down to our left. There's a bit of movement inside there as Campagna gets a nice position. He turns. I like the number 6 for Palace. It's Moxey cutting in alongside the dead ball line here, the left back. He's got into the back of the penalty area, but Fulham have robbed him. And a quick ball out is meant for Darren Bent. I don't think he's going to get there, Steve, but Fulham at least will leave the danger.
A little bit more encouragement for Palace. Exactly where they started the first 15 minutes. All of a sudden, the game has now gone back to that, where they've got getting Balassi on the ball, and he's getting at the fullback.
Here he is again, Balassi. That was a good ball by Jedinek. And Balassi moves inside. Oh, he's got some skill. He's beaten 2 players here, and he's trying to find Joel Ward, the right back, who came up on the opposite flank. Ward has got there now, with a bit of difficulty. Puncheon. It's Jedinek for Crystal Palace, angled in towards O'Keefe. Palace beginning to find themselves again a bit now. Berbatov, lazy, loses the ball in a defensive position. Balassi knocks him off it. Balassi, he's having quite a half. It's come back again to Campagna. Balassi again. Now it's come through to O'Keefe. Balassi. And back to Campagna, who's come the other left-hand side, and he's won a throw-in for Crystal Palace. Only 15 yards out from the Fulham goal line. Balassi's on the ball again. And here comes Fulham now with Ruiz. He's halfway inside his own half. 35 minutes gone in the first half. Fulham having come from a goal behind. Bit of a crash on the pass. And Sidwell now picks up possession. Halfway inside the Fulham half, it's Parker. Parker, who played for England, of course, in Euro 2012. And Palace did well to pick him up, really, from Spurs. And it's forward by Ruiz and rather wasteful, actually, by the Colombian. And Palace have the ball on the halfway line, just about in the centre circle now. Gale is knocked off the ball, and it's a free kick against Parker, Steve.
What you have got is you've got Balassi who's going to stay wide on the left, and what he will do is, every time they get the ball to him, why he's having so much joy, John, is because Ruiz is in front of Rita, just not doing the defensive job that the wide midfielders should do. And of course he's getting a one-on-one, and by the time Ruiz is getting back, it's a token gesture with regard to his defending, and that's why Balassi is getting almost a one-on-one with Rita.
Well,
so they want to keep getting the ball out to him.
Certainly do. It's a free kick to Crystal Palace in the centre circle here. Campagna, who has made an impression, I feel, the young Spaniard. He's played it short to Ward. Ward has rolled it on again here for Palace. And the cross is deep towards the far post. Senderos lets it go. And since you've stunned me with that Van Basten recollection, were both the Palace wingers at Barney's at one time or another? Jason Puncheon and Balassi? Not sure it was the same time.
No, I know Puncheon was, definitely.
Well, Balassi had a number of clubs, hasn't he? He was at Plymouth, wasn't he?
Yes, he was, yeah.
That's right. Anyway, we digress. Largely because the ball's out of play. 37 minutes gone at Selhurst Park, and a cracking start by Crystal Palace, culminating in a goal for Mariappa, and then a sensational goal. There is no other word for it, and the word is, in this particular sentence, I think, well deserved, for Kasani for Fulham to make it 1-1. That's where we're at, and the ball has now run through to Stekelenburg, the Dutch goalkeeper, who's come back after injury tonight to replace Stockdale in the Fulham goal, injured on the opening day of the season at Sunderland. Stekelenburg. He was really signed to replace Mark Schwarzer, who, as the boys were saying earlier, is now the number 2 goalkeeper at Chelsea at the age of 40, and probably playing in the World Cup, I should think, as well, as you mentioned, Australia. Now, Crystal Palace on the halfway line with Campagna. Took that one down nicely past Sidwell, but Senderos is covering. He's played it to Hangeland. Hangeland looks up, wonders about playing a through ball, but settles for a short one to Senderos. And the game has just for the first time now subsided a tiny bit, Steve.
Yeah, it's gone a little bit flat. Neither side really got a grip on the game, they're really dominating.
Well, we'll see who takes it over now. It's Puncheon on the far side for Palace. He's rolled it back to Ward. Palace are working their way rather back towards their own goal at the moment. Mariappa turns, and Jedinak picks it up now, the captain and player of the year. Forceful fellow in the midfield for Crystal Palace. And here's O'Keefe, also a Palace midfield player. The passing was good there by Crystal Palace. Gale turned nicely as well, and that ball has come out to Campagna. Puncheon it was who set him up. Campagna plays it back inside to Puncheon. He's got 2 or 3 options here. This is Moxie, the left back, just tucking it back into Puncheon. That's his cross, and it's going to drop out on the far side. Not the best delivery, that, actually, in fairness, from Jason Puncheon.
That's the problem, John. When you've got your 3 players up front, and one of them's wide and putting the ball in the box, you've only got Gale in there. You need someone from midfield break, and you also need the opposite wide player to get him round the back, which he didn't do there. It was Balassi, and shut the back door so that nothing beats the far post. They haven't quite got that balance. Last 3 times I've seen them put the ball in the box, hasn't been a midfielder breaking, which there needs to be if you've got 3 in midfield, and the opposite wide player has not shut the back door. And that's something they definitely need to work on, because you've got to get the numbers in the box if that ball's coming in.
Well, Stekelenburg takes a goal kick for Fulham, away to our left, deep into the Crystal Palace half. Berbatov tries to flick it on. The ball bounces, and in fact, Palace have been given a free kick, and Berbatov is penalised there. He's just gesturing with his hand towards one of his colleagues. The ball's run out of play, in fact, now on the far. It's all a little bit scrappy at the moment. Nobody's really putting two passes together. And the ball has gone out over the touchline on the far side for a Fulham throw. Fulham playing from left to right in this first half. And there's the throw towards Darren Bent. He can't quite get hold of that. And again, Palace force Fulham back. Angerland rolling it back to his goalkeeper. And if you were with us earlier, you heard plenty of topics on the Monday Night Club. There's plenty to come later on tonight, by the way. An interview with John Kerry and Mark Chapman wanting to hear from all those fans whose clubs are in trouble. How do you feel? Do you keep your manager? Middlesbrough haven't. They departed company with Tony Mowbray today. Ball's played forward for Fulham, onto the centre circle there. It's worked back here by Palace to Moxey, the left back. He's just inside the touchline on the Palace left, and Campagna is also there, but he was cut off there by Rita, the Fulham right back, and at the moment, those teams are being forced back and are more or less passing it back to their goalkeeper. But here's Shedinat in the centre circle, applause for his control, goes to Ward. Ward finding Balassi, it's moved out to the right wing now, and he's showing a fleet of foot here. Oh, step over, tries to play it through, it hits Sidwell, and Balassi showing another flash of inspiration there. Yedinat gets it now for Palace. He's found Campagna. Campagna's on the edge of the Fulham penalty area, plays a nice ball in towards Gale, who can't collect it, but Palace are getting on top of him now. Huge applause there, because Ian Holloway was an adroit piece of ball control as it dropped towards him inside the perimeter area for managers.
I'm surprised to swap Balassi. I've got to say, I mean, he's picked the ball up there, ran inside with it, and didn't have a clue what he was doing or where he was going. Whereas out here on the left, he's up against Rita, and they seem to have lost that balance now out on the left. Palace with that real width, because Puncheon doesn't want to really come out and play with the width that Balassi did.
Well, Balassi only came back, didn't he, for the first time this season against Liverpool in the last game at a sub. There's a cross deep in there to the far post, and Stekelenburg comes out and picks it off the head of Gale. That was O'Keefe who crossed that deep there for Crystal Palace. And Stekelenburg is going to take his time here, because there's nobody coming up behind him like Samuel Eto'o as he drops the ball, and has plenty of clear vision as he kicks long here for Crystal Palace. We're now up to the 42-minute mark in the first half at Selhurst Park, and Crystal Palace may look back on this half as an opportunity missed because of the way they started the game. And that dramatic twist when Kasami scored out of nothing rather turned events here, Steve.
Yeah, but John, if you're a manager, you look at it and go, do you know what? One thing I don't want to do is give anything stupid away. Don't give anything cheap away. You can't say that, can you? You can't do anything about brilliance like that.
No, it'll be seen over and over again, that one. Here's Berbatov now for Fulham. He's found Sidwell halfway inside the Palace half. He's going to open things up now down the Fulham right in front of us. Rita plays it to Ruiz. Ruiz cuts inside, 25 yards from goal. First pass doesn't, well, second pass goes astray, and Palace should get the ball away here. Parker cuts off Campagna. It really is just one team after another losing the ball just at the moment. That may say something about the anxiety of being in the bottom four of the Premier League, not be able to thread the game together quite the way they would have liked. And of course the other team breaking up play whenever they can. It's Scott Parker in the centre circle, plays it square to Rita on the halfway line. Rita plays it back again to Fulham to Senderos. There isn't much happening around the two penalty areas just at the moment, I have to say, but Fulham are now attacking there. Oh, a good touch by Berbatov. There might now. Three Fulham players waiting in the middle for a cross here. Berbatov looks up. He's got Bent in the middle there. He's got Kasami. Oh no, how frustrated Berbatov could be. Goodness, if he delivered that, there was Kasami tries to win it back. Oh, it's feet flying all over the place in the centre of the pitch at the moment. Fulham have won it back, in fact, and Berbatov is on the left this time. He could have done a bit better in possession a few minutes ago. Now Crystal Palace. Oh, and Crystal Palace lose it here, and Sidwell will get a free kick just outside the penalty area against Balassi. Palace fans don't like it, but I think Balassi here, it was a bit of miscontrol in the first place, and then he just clipped Sidwell. Free kick, Steve.
Real inexperience there, John, wasn't it? When you're on the edge of the box there, young lad, and he's not aware of what's around him, and he touches a touch towards his own goal, and all Sidwell does is come from the blind side and nicks it, and he clips him. And you really want to be just getting the ball out there instead of trying to play in those areas.
Well, who would Fulham give this to? I think there are two outstanding candidates. Kasami, who's already scored, Brian Ruiz, who we know can hit them with his left foot. So Palace line up and pull everybody back. The free kick is about 5 yards outside the penalty area on the right from a Fulham point of view, and Ruiz hits it and the wall does its job, but it comes back again. Oh, Sidwell! Sidwell from distance. It's another phenomenal goal for Fulham. Goodness me. Where are these shots coming from? Steve Sidwell has made it 2-1 Fulham just before half-time here, and that was out of very little. The wall did its job, but as it came back, Sidwell volleyed it from just outside the D, and goodness, that flew into the top corner. And it's Crystal Palace 1, Fulham 2.
John, the keeper ain't got within 10 feet of either of these, has he? Unbelievable strike again, from nothing. Just sat up and he just smacked it on the volley, on the rise as well. Ball. He looked like he said, I'm with you, John. I'm thinking the ball's been, I'm looking at a free kick. Oh, no danger, it's been blocked. And he's just smacked it from the edge of the box. I kid you not, Spironi is an excellent goalkeeper, has not got within 6 feet of either of these shots. Incredible strike again.
And while you were talking, Steve, they announced 2 minutes of added time at the end of this first half. In fact, we've already played nearly one of them. And if anybody can just allow me to gather my thoughts, a game that went through a very quiet period has suddenly come to life again, and Fulham have produced in this first half 2 goals, the quality of which they haven't matched for a very long time.
If I'm Ian Holloway, I'm just thinking, what have I done here, John? What have I done wrong here to have 2 goals like that scored? I mean, you'd be unlucky to get 2 of them in a season.
Well,
there's 2 of them in a
no, you're right.
game.
You're absolutely right.
Wow.
I wonder if it knocks the heart out of Palace this. Jedinek's got the ball. He's played it. They've done so little wrong, as you say. Now that's been touched on to Campagna, and Campagna here got it. Oh, he's lost it. He's lost it. Even though Moxie was backing him up from left back. And now it's been won back by O'Keefe for Crystal Palace, cutting in from the left-hand side, halfway inside the Fulham half. Yet Campagna on the ball. It's O'Keefe again. O'Keefe looks for Joel Ward far side. This could be the last attack of the first half, which there's been plenty to talk about. The Ward comes thundering through from right back. He beat 3 players, and he's found the other fullback, Moxie, and his shot was heading to the top corner when it came off Rita. And we're coming up to half-time here, and quite how you do justice to the 2 Fulham goals, well, we'll find out when we've got a bit of time to talk about them. Now, Palace have got an attack going down by the corner flag. It's Punchin, pulls the ball back, but Stekelenburg can collect that. And the referee, Lee Mason, blows for half-time at Selhurst Park. A half in which Crystal Palace looked so dominating for the first quarter of an hour. Mariappa scored. They were full on at that stage, Palace. But back came Fulham, and strikes by Kasami and Sidwell. Steve, what can I say about that?
Yeah, I mean, incredible. And as you said, you feel yourself unlucky because it was one of those in the season in a game. That's just 2. I mean, fantastic strike. It completely changed the complexion of the game. It was up to the first goal. Crystal Palace were very, very much on top.
The Crystal Palace fans are on their feet and chanting Eagles and applauding their players off because I think they would say that they don't deserve to be behind.
No, and I think that's a good point. I mean, I'm very lucky you can do about either goal.
Yeah.
As a manager, you go out and you say, make life as difficult as you can for the opposition. Don't give anything cheap. Don't make mistakes. Make sure if they score, then it's going to be a good goal. Well, it's better than that. It's 2 of the best goals you're going to see all season.
Lee Mason just about to put the ball on the spot in the centre circle. Dimitar Berbatov is waiting for it. Looks like there are a couple of substitutions as well. So with Fulham 2-1 to the good, I'll let Steve Claridge and Conor McNamara talk you through the subs.
Well, thanks very much, Mark. I think we're still a bit stunned by that ridiculous wonder goal, particularly from Kasami. Sidwell's wasn't bad either, was it? But I think Kasami's is the one that's been occupying everyone's conversation over half-time. Fernando Amorebieta has come on as replacement defender for Fulham. It looks like he's taken the place of Hangeland, who's not come out for the second half. As we prepare to get back underway, 1-1 the scoreline. Crystal Palace went in front, a goal from defender Adrian Mariappa, and then Kasami with a really good equaliser, and then Sidwell pushing Fulham in front. And Fulham have not come from behind to win a Premier League game
since April 2009 when they did so against Manchester City. So it's been a long, long time, but they've come from behind to lead here this evening. Some wonderful comments on Twitter about the goal. First of all, and probably best from Jack Wilshere, who says, well, there's my goal of the month prize gone, in relation to Kasami's goal, in Wilshere's opinion, being better than his for us of the weekend. Kevin Kilbane, BBC pundit, former Republic of Ireland international, says it's the best Premier League goal he has seen. Lots of people comparing it with Marco van Basten in that famous final of Euro 88, but it was a very special finish. The technique to chest the ball down at full pelt on the run in the penalty area, and then volley the ball over the goalkeeper into the top corner from a very tight angle. It's a very, very special goal indeed. And let's see if Crystal Palace can respond here. They have possession, playing from left to right as we look down. Joel Ward in possession. Good ball here to Balassi, one of their best players in the first half, and his cross was just too high for Dwight Gale, who was in the centre.
Only one in the box again. Great balling.
Here it comes, another cross from the left-hand side. This one, Balassi attacks it, and Kieran Richardson can take no chances, and he gets up and puts the ball out for a corner. Lively start to the second half from Crystal Palace, who, it must be remembered, did start this game right back at the beginning very well before Fulham got the 2 goals.
Real quality about the 2 balls in there. I mean, such was the quality of the first cross. It's a gasp from the crowd.
Corner is going to be taken by Jason Punchin from the right-hand side, headed away by Berbatov on the edge of the 6-yard box. And then a challenge comes in from Scott Parker. And possession now with Dean Moxey, the left-back for Crystal Palace. Plays it high into the penalty area. Punchin returns the ball into the box. Kasami, not sure if the ball hit his arm there. There's a few shouts from Palace fans now. Referee says no, and that's been put out for a throw-in.
No appeals whatsoever from either side there. But all of a sudden they have got more men in the box. That's the ball. We saw that ball first half, went aimlessly out of play. All of a sudden Punchin now is actually attacking the ball at the far post and making what were good balls in the first half run out of play. Second half, making those into good balls now.
Jedinak gives the ball back to Mariappa, the Crystal Palace goal scorer, and he's been tackled by Darren Bent, who picks up the ball again now inside the Crystal Palace half, and he was caught in a challenge there by Jedinak, and he's just gone down sort of on his haunches, nursing an injury there. Bent. Play continues. Richardson's got defending to do, and he stands his ground well against Balassi and ensures the ball goes harmlessly out for a goal kick to Fulham. And Martin Stekelenburg, who's making only his second appearance in the Premier League tonight, the Dutch goalkeeper, 6'5" tall, playing in front of or behind, I should say, a back four of Sasha Ritter, Philip Senderos, now Amo Bieta, who's come on as a sub, and Richardson, with Parker and Sidwell in midfield. They've got Brian Ruiz, Kasami, Berbatov, and Bent, and Jerome Thomas has come on as well for Crystal Palace, and he looks to be playing in a position wide on the left-hand side. So a throw-in for Palace, taken by Moxey, good distance down that left, and possession is picked up by Dwight Gale. He's in a tight little corner there, and he hasn't managed to keep the ball in play, but the last touch came off a Fulham player. So a throw into Crystal Palace just inside their own half. Possession with Dean Moxey, former Derby County player. Rolls it back to the goalkeeper, Speroni. Absolutely nothing he could do about the goals, but he's made a mistake here. 4 clears, Berbatov, back to Bent, brilliant! Bent puts it wide!
No, great.
What a chance! Was it deflected?
Great save. No, it's a great save.
Save for the goalkeeper out for a
Right.
corner. Well, we've got a tangent in the way here from where that shot was struck, and I couldn't see if it hit the goalkeeper or not, but brilliant play from Berbatov to lay it into the path of Gareth Bent, who must have thought he was going to score.
Good save.
So a corner to Fulham.
Yeah, good save on his haunches there, Speroni. Stands up tall. Lovely little work move there. Nice little flick, and Darren Bent smashes it and stands strong. He's just strong enough to see that around the post.
Referee just keeping an eye on a group of players huddled around the penalty spot here. They're all holding on to each other. Berbatov is trying to find a bit of space. Amo Bieta, who's a tall defender who's come on as a sub. And it's Damien Delaney who's going to be spoken to by the referee. I presume he was holding on to Berbatov there as they waited for the corner to come in. Fulham, who were behind and now lead 2-1 here on 5 Live from the BBC. For the corner, it's going to come from the right-hand side. Here it comes. Good swing in. Berbatov's header into the back of the net. It's 3-1 to Fulham. Well, what about this? Martin Yall's team, under a lot of pressure, coming away from home tonight in the Premier League to Sellers Park. They've scored 3 very good goals. This isn't in the calibre of Kasami in the first half, but it's straightforward and simple. A corner swung into the box, and Dimitar Berbatov scores his first Premier League goal of the season. Crystal Palace 1, Fulham 3, and it's a long way back for Crystal Palace now.
Well, as much as Mariappa did well for the first goal, scored the first goal, he's certainly at fault for that one, because he's the one who's marking Berbatov. He's the one who's marking all the way through that run, just attacks the near post. It's a great flick at the near post, puts it back across and into the far corner. But Mariappa, stood there, holds his head in his hands. And how cruel this game can be. You go from euphoria 1 minute to desolation the next, and he's definitely at fault for that one, unfortunately.
Euphoria on the face of Martin Yall as that goal went in, who's now been in charge of Fulham for over 100 games, but he was under pressure coming into this one tonight. Yall had to endure a bit of speculation over the international break. This has been convincing for his team tonight, though, and they've had to absorb good pressure from Crystal Palace early on. Look at that, little cheeky back heel from Berbatov, who's going to pull out some party pieces now, and another back heel from Kasami. Good interception for Crystal Palace to get the ball back. They have it with Joel Ward. A 2-goal cushion for Fulham, but Crystal Palace will think there's enough time to get back in this. 3-1 on 5 Live. Sendros turns and rolls it back to the goalkeeper, Stakelfer.
There's a bit of a Fulham look about Palace now, isn't there? With Roman, you've got the 4 forwards now. Neither winger really wanting to get back, so we've almost got a mirror image of both sides, really, the way they're playing. The only problem for Palace is, obviously, they're 3-1 down.
So Ian Holloway on the touchline has got some thinking to do, perhaps some decisions to make, but his team who were in front are very much up against it now, and a throw-in for Crystal Palace. Joel Ward to take it right in front of Martin Yall, who's standing and pointing at his players, positions he wants them to take up to defend this passage of play, and the referee is just blowing his whistle. The ball got in a bit of a tangle, legs are swinging everywhere. It might actually be a drop ball from referee Lee Mason to get this ball game back underway. Stuart O'Keefe wins the ball. Do you know what Stuart O'Keefe did there? He did what Samuel Eto'o did to the goalkeeper in the Chelsea Cardiff game of the weekend. He dipped in as the ball was back.
But you had to see Berbatov attempt at the drop ball. My little 3-year-old daughter would have beat him in that drop ball, I promise you. That was the most pathetic attempt to win the drop ball I think I've ever seen from him. But then he did score. He's just scored a marvellous goal, hasn't he? So we'll forgive him that one.
I think he decided that was going to be an uncontested.
Very much so, yeah.
From Dimitar Berbatov. Holloway's preparing a change. He's going to bring on a striker straight away. Marouane Chamakh, the former Arsenal player, signed to have a free transfer in the summer for Crystal Palace. He's going to come on. Scott Parker here picks out Kasami, low crossing, last gasp challenge to put it out for a corner from Mariappa. Fulham are a transformed team. I mean, early stages of this game, I thought they were really going to struggle tonight, but they are playing with a fluid motion now. They're creating chances, and they've scored 3 goals already.
They've drawn Palace into getting into that game where Palace have to chase it, and all of a sudden they look really, really open. And you do fear on a night like this that it could be 1 or 2 more at this rate. Now, if Palace leave themselves so open.
Well, Brian Ruiz is going to take the corner. Fulham scored from their last corner. Here it is, swung into the centre, headed straight up into the air by Mariappa, and that goes out for another corner kick, this time on the right-hand side. These set-piece deliveries have been good from Fulham. They're causing trouble.
That's the thing that you get probably more so in the Premiership than anywhere else. That's one of the big differences. The actual delivery on dead ball situations. The one thing he won't be happy about the defending for the 3rd goal. Said nothing to do about the other 2 goals. They did everything right, just pure brilliance. But he won't be too happy, Holloway, about the defending for that 3rd one.
We'll find out in a moment who Chamakh is coming on for. But he'll wait until after this set piece. Very busy penalty area. Here comes the delivery. Deep, throws it back post. Sender up. Did it cross the line? Goalkeeper saved it. But did the ball go over the line? It did. It's a goal for Fulham. It's 4-1. And they are threatening to run riot at Sellers Park. Send
did say, just before that, I worried about how open this game was going to be from a Palace perspective, and they could concede one or two more, and unfortunately for them that has happened.
I tell you what, it's not going to compare, and it's not going to make the headlines like Kasami, but for a centre half, it's a really good volley from Philippe Senderos, who's only ever scored once for Fulham before. The ball definitely crosses the line, despite the best efforts of Speroni to keep it out.
Hold on, that's a centre half from a corner.
Yes. Where's the defence? Yeah.
You know, with all due respect, the two people you expect to get picked up are the two centre forwards, the centre halves that come forward. If anybody else, well, okay, we'll mix and make do. But what we won't allow is, we won't allow them to freedom and space. He's got 5 yards at the far post to do what he likes, albeit it's a fantastic technique and a great finish, but a centre half with that time and space in the 6-yard box. Whoa, now we're seeing the other side of why Palace are where they are.
Yeah, it was a deep corner, but they all committed themselves to trying to win it high in the air with the head, and he just peeled off of the back post, Philippe Senderos.
Nothing more than that.
And it's a volley, but it's struck quite low down volley. Yeah. It's only like 1 foot off the ground.
It's a good strike. It's a great technique, isn't it? And the way that he does it, he gets over it, he falls back. It's lovely technique. But he peels off and does no more than that. Whoever his marker is, should be hung, drawn and quartered. You've got to stay with your men. Ridiculous defending from Palace.
Over 3 years at Fulham now, Philippe Senderos, former Arsenal defender, and that's his second goal for the club, and boy did he celebrate it, and all his teammates too. You can always tell when a player who doesn't score too often in the team scores a goal, the teammates all make an extra big deal about celebrating it. But boy, they've been good tonight at Fulham after withstanding early pressure. 4-1 they now lead. Kasami, Sidwell, Berbatov, and now the goal from Senderos, and it's very difficult to see how Crystal Palace are going to get back in this one. Here they come again. Parker in midfield for Fulham, lays the ball back to Kieran Richardson, helped on by Kasami to Berbatov. They're really pulling out the party pieces now, almost toying with Crystal Palace. Little flick over the shoulder from Kasami, succession of back heels. Balassi looks to win the ball for Palace, does. Jedinak runs into Berbatov, who stands his ground. Jedinak ends up on the ground, but Crystal Palace hold on to possession. They have it at the back. Mariappa to Delaney. The confidence that just coasted through the veins of Crystal Palace in the opening 10 minutes of this match has evaporated now. Speroni has been beaten 4 times, sends the ball long towards Shamak, who misses the header in the air. Tall order for Shamak now to come on and try and change things.
I'll tell you what, I'm not being silly. I've seen him 3 times this year, and I wouldn't exactly, if I was a player at Crystal Palace, be buoyed by the sight of him coming on. Not with the effort and the attitude that I've seen from him so far.
He didn't make a single Premier League appearance for Arsenal last season. Shamaki went out on loan to West Ham, and he only played 3 games for them on loan. Didn't score any goals. Did score against Stoke in August for Crystal Palace, and he's now come on in place of punch-in to partner Dwight Gale up front. 5 live from the BBC. We've been treated to 5 goals tonight, and some of them have been very special indeed. None more so than Pachim Kastani, the Swiss midfielder. He scored a very special goal tonight.
Did he go for it too early, Holloway, here?
I know what you're saying, yeah.
It was so...
They were out of the traps, weren't
they?
Yeah.
No, I just mean with Turan coming on.
Oh, that's right.
So attack-minded, you know. With a 2-1 behind, you're leaving yourself, you know, really, really open, I think, to that counter-attack, that little bit of extra quality that Fulham have shown on the night. They've gone from a team that were making life difficult for Fulham to a team that was so open in this game. It looked like there were more goals right from the start.
Well, I think tonight that Ian Holloway's, instinct from the beginning was to go for this game, and it certainly worked in the early stages.
There's a pattern and a purpose to also get men goal side when they didn't have the ball. Second half, they haven't done that, have they?
Well, they don't have Catania in the middle anymore, winning the ball for them. And they're playing with the wingers. Balassi wide on the right, Thomas wide on the left.
They're not going to track back, are they?
No.
So all of a sudden, you've gone from a side that out of possession, you're getting men behind the ball, to out of possession, you've got so many people the wrong side of the ball. They're getting dominated numbers-wise as well.
Frustrations down the pitch. Damien Delaney, Crystal Palace centre half, no one helping him out. He's turned under pressure from Berbatov. Very early messed up his back pass to the goalkeeper, and immediately afterwards he's turned and he's still having conversations with his teammates. Look at him inside the centre circle here. Delaney furious that people aren't tracking back to help him out. Jedniak takes a free kick for Palace. Good ball into the penalty area. Jerome Thomas tries to chase after it. Brian Ruiz on the edge of the penalty area just manages to hold it up here, rolls it back into Senderos, and he clears it high up towards the halfway line where Delaney beats Berbatov in the air. A little header from Sidwell. Ruiz will do well to keep this at play, but as I said, it's all party pieces from Fulham now, and a flick from him, and another flick from Berbatov, and Ruiz is away down the right hand side, and now Sidwell is in the penalty area. Palace defenders slow to get back. Sidwell trying to manoeuvre into a crossing position wide to the right, and he's tackled, and that goes out for a Fulham throw.
Delaney's having a go at Jerome. I'm looking at Jerome there as the ball is broke, and Jerome is 5 yards away from Ruiz. Ruiz had 4 touches, broke forward, and Jerome hasn't broken sweat or got even into a jog to get back goal side. That's what I'm saying about it. It's such an attacking setup now for that. It's an imbalance now to play. They haven't got the balance of when they haven't got the ball. You know, there's 4 men goal side of that as Fulham attacked. The numbers. They've got more numbers going forward than Palace have got defending.
But what's interesting now is Fulham scoring 4 goals tonight. If they win, they would definitely leap over at least 3 clubs, Cardiff, Stoke and West Ham, to move level of points with Aston Villa, West Brom and Swansea. But I think if they keep scoring goals, if they get another 2, I think they would also move ahead of Aston Villa tonight, and maybe West Brom, and maybe Swansea if they get 2 more goals. So this really could be a turning point in the season for Martignol, who's begun at level with Norwich, who are in the relegation zone on 7 points, and they could end up in the top half of the table tonight. Such has been the way that Fulham have been playing and scoring goals here on 5 Live this evening. Kieran Richardson has possession on the left-hand side, gives it into Kasami. He's the man who's made the headlines so far. Richardson to Parker, no one inside the centre circle with it. Good ball, Bent is going to run onto this. Speroni quickly off his line and bravely dives to the feet and makes the save.
It's a totally different game, isn't it? I mean, Fulham actually now playing really well. I mean, it's taken a while. It wasn't the way they started the game, and you couldn't really see this after 15 minutes happening, but all of a sudden, like I say, full of confidence, everybody wants the ball. This wasn't, the first 15 minutes, this wasn't Fulham that we saw, was it?
Yeah,
totally different Fulham sides. You know, lots of these players were peripheral. No real movement. Nobody wanting to get on the ball. All of a sudden now, completely different side, completely different players for that matter.
Goes back to what we said at the start of the game. Our Crystal Palace, who came up from the Championship last season, effectively have lost their 2 best players, Wilfried Zaha, who joined Manchester United. Glenn Murray has got a long-term injury, not expected back until the new year. Murray has scored 30 goals, plus for them last time. But they've come up to the top flight, and remember, they only finished 5th in the Championship last season, promoted through the playoffs. And I think Ian Holloway's side are finding out quite a few realities. They've had 1 victory so far against Southampton, and it looks now that they are going to have lost against Sunderland, correct?
Yeah.
But it looks like they're going to have lost now every other match. Delaney has possession of the back. Gives it to Moxey, midway inside the Palace half. Reverting to long balls now. This one down the left wing, which Senderos comes across, puts a good old-fashioned boot in it, and wellies the ball into the stand. So throw in to Crystal Palace attacking position down the left. 64 minutes on the clock here at Sellers Park. Moxey has possession again. 4 Palace players in the penalty area. Shamak as well didn't get off the ground. Amobieta gets up and beats him to it. Shamak didn't even challenge for that on the edge of the 6-yard box. So the ball goes out of play, and that'll be a Fulham throw, and that relieves a bit of pressure for them.
That's a good ball in from Jerome Thomas there. I don't think Shamak really wanted that, but you got the other side of it. You got Shamak, who didn't really want the ball. Then Joe Ward, who will give you everything. I promise you that now. He's a real good kid. You know, still tackling and beavering away and trying to get the ball back, and there's a lot to be said for that.
Just saw a picture on our monitors here, the Fulham owner, Shahid Khan, who's all smiles. He'll be enjoying this tonight. He was in a corporate box for the first half, which had to be evacuated due to a fire alarm going off. So he thought this look off. Now Richardson lunges in on the edge of the penalty. Palace got the ball in the back of it. Now they're going to be unhappy about this. They'll feel advantage should have been played, but first and foremost there was a tackle by Kieran Richardson on the edge of the penalty area, which would have given away a free kick. Then I think there was an offside decision spotted by the assistant, and then finally Dwight Gale puts the ball in the back of the net, but it's not going to count. and the referee is going to, despite the boos, end up awarding what I guess will be an offside decision, a free kick out. Palace will no doubt wonder, well, hang on, what about the tackle of Richardson on the edge of the penalty area? But it's one of those. Somebody's thrown something onto the pitch, and it's Stewart has had to come across it. Not quite sure what it is. There's a few items, I think they're plastic bottles that have been thrown onto the pitch from Palace fans who thought they had got a goal back there, but the referee says it's a free out and a free for an offside.
I think they're also thinking that it might have been in the penalty area, not outside, which it wasn't. No, it was certainly outside the box for the first instant. But yeah, that just holds a little bit more feelings of injustice around the place, doesn't it? Really, with that.
Well, 4-2 would have made it somewhat interesting, but still, it would have been a large task for Crystal Palace, and at 4-1. You think they need every possible break to go their way. Joel Ward has possession, right full-back position. If you're just tuning our way tonight on 5 Live, Crystal Palace went in front here. Adrian Mariappa's goal. They were hell for leather in the opening stages. Palace played some really good football, but then Fulham have just stepped up a gear and have scored 4 very good goals, the best of them from Patim Kasabi, which I can guarantee you now will be a contender for it will certainly goal of the month and perhaps even goal of the season. Really, really impressive strike. Sidwell scored a beauty as well. Berbatov has scored a header. Centre half Senderos scored a volley. It's been one-way traffic since Fulham got back to 1-1. Here's Berbatov into the penalty area, left-hand side, did a little nutmeg there on Joel Ward. Now he rolls the ball back to Senderos, being put under pressure by Dwight Gale. Palace can't win the ball here, and Fulham are happy to retreat all the way back to the goalkeeper if it means holding on to the ball.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult to see them getting back in at 2-1. You've got a little bit to score. 3-1, probably game over. 4-1, it's just really a case of just playing for pride, I suppose, and making sure that you try and stay in the team for the next week.
So we're midway through the second half here at Selhurst Park. If Crystal Palace are going to come back, they're going to need something very, very special, and they're going to bring on Kevin Phillips, which could be an interesting development. If ever you needed a hero, he could well be the man to do it. And talking you through to full-time here at Selhurst Park on 5 Live is John Mawson.
Thank you, Connor. It's been a remarkable match, hasn't it? And you've been at the microphone for some outstanding goals. I mean, I got the one, but Fulham have just commandeered the game now. And there goes Kasami again, away to our left into the Crystal Palace danger area. And as you were saying, I mean, you wouldn't have believed this in the first 15 minutes. Anyway, Palace are now on the attack down to our right. It's come to Balassi. The fans are a little bit disgruntled by an incident a moment or two ago, but John Brooks, the assistant on the near side, had his flag up before that Richardson tackle really took effect, and it was an offside decision against Dwight Gale, who then put the ball in the net, and it was disallowed. So I don't know if that clarifies everything, because Kevin Phillips, who was, of course, one of only 3 players, outfield players that is, to appear in the Premier League over the age of 40, the man whose penalty took Palace into the Premier League, indeed, at the Championship final, and he's coming on for the said Dwight Gale. So it's Phillips, the veteran, for Gale, the expensive youngster here for Crystal Palace, but I don't think even Kevin Phillips, after the amazing career he's had, can turn this match round. It's 4-1 to Fulham, and Palace are looking dishevelled now, really, by comparison to the way they started. It's been a right old turnaround in the London derby, and you were quite right. That was Sadiq Khan, who's now come into the stand to watch his team play. He also was in the hotel that Robbie Williams was in earlier today. I don't know whether they met. Anyway, the ball is being played now wide on the left for Crystal Palace now. And Shamak wants it played into the middle, and he couldn't find him, Phillips, and it's been cleared by Fulham. And really, Steve, I hate to say this when we've got so long, quite a lot of action still to see, but I can't quite see how Palace turn this round.
No, I think at 3-1, John, I think in effect the game is over. It's very difficult after that. As I say, the only thing that would really concern me from Ian Holloway's perspective would be the effect that the first goal had on the side. I've got to say, I mean, very rarely have I seen a game where a goal has changed the complexion so dramatically as that. Now, it wasn't that Fulham stepped out 100%. It was just that Palace almost fell into a hole for sort of 10-15 minutes after that.
Yeah, that's right. And by the way, Fulham, if and when they do win this, they will move up 4 places in the Premier League. From 7 points to 10. Now, here's Berbatov on the far side for Fulham. That's their right. He just casually pushes the ball back into the path of Kasami. Fulham on the edge of the Palace penalty area. Kasami plays that straight into Jedinak, and it will be a Crystal Palace throw.
2 stats for you, John. Go on, isn't there? The old Fulham coming from Sheffield.
Forgive me for that, Willie.
Yes, Palace not losing a midweek game.
Yes, I'm sorry about that. We had the chairman on 5 Live earlier, if you weren't with us, and I was telling him that since he took over, Palace had played 21 evening games here and had not lost one of them. Well, I'm afraid that record will now go. As for Fulham, well, this is their 13th consecutive season, by the way, Steve, in the Premier League. That's quite a record for a club that's never really, you know what I mean, pulled up too many trees in terms of winning trophies. Several managers, of course, involved in that, and the previous owner, Mohamed Al-Fayed, but the new man won't be too disappointed with what he's seen so far tonight. Looks a flamboyant figure, doesn't he, Shahid Khan? Here's Richardson, the man who made that tackle that caused all the kerfuffle a few minutes ago, back to Amarabieta, who came on at half-time. I can only assume, Steve Claridge, and we're just dropping things in here because there's not a lot going on in this game at the moment, that the Palace number 6, Campagna, must have been injured, mustn't he? Because I thought he was one of their better players in the first half. He went off at half-time.
Well, it sort of almost imbalanced their side, didn't it? Because you said Geraint Thomas came on, all of a sudden the inference was such that it was such a positive change, and there was nobody who could get goal side. Nobody, they didn't have enough men who were willing to get back and defend properly for such an open game. I thought, that's why I said, 3-1. I thought there'd be more in it, and they scored just after that again for them, because when you looked at it, they had 4 players, and every time they lost the ball, those 4 players were goal side of Fulham, and everybody who had the ball for them.
Well, I've just seen an offside decision given there against Fulham, so Palace will have a free kick. 16 minutes to go at Selhurst Park in this London derby. Crystal Palace 1, Fulham 4. And 2 of them, well, 2 of the best goals you'll see for anywhere. And now Palace are on the attack. They've got a chance and a deflection or a cross, and that might have been an own goal. It hasn't. It's gone behind. It came off Rita. Geraint Thomas breaking down the left for Crystal Palace, and now he's going to go across and take a corner, so maybe there's a bit of hope here for Crystal Palace. Attacking the Holmesdale Road end to our right. And Marietta, who started things off by scoring from a corner, is up there again, almost on the goal line. Curled right in here. Jedinak is there, and it's gone out for a goal kick. Palace fans were hoping for a corner. Lee Mason, not their favourite figure at the moment, but I've no real gripes about any of the decisions he and his assistants have made. I don't think when you're 4-1 down you can find much solace in that anyway. There's a shot of Steve Parris next to Mark Bright I could see in the
Wright,
and Ian Wright, of course. Wright and Bright, the great twosome of the Palace days under Steve Coppell. They are here tonight partly because a lounge is being opened in their name and honour, and quite right too if you know the history of Crystal Palace. And I think Steve Parrish is going to have to be consoled by Mark Bright here, because his club are on the receiving end of what looks like quite a bad beating. Seeing Ian Holloway down there with his hands behind his back, I don't think he can do much from there to change things now. Here comes O'Keefe for Palace from the midfield. Richardson for Fulham. And if you've just joined us, as I know many people do on a Monday night on 5 Live, here in deep South London, Crystal Palace, having started the match so well, a goal in 7 minutes from Mariappa, find themselves 4-1 down. In fact, they were 4-1 down after 55 minutes. Kasami and Sidwell with special goals before half-time. Berbatov and Senderos with 2 that should have been avoided, frankly, by the Palace defence after half-time.
I'll say, John, if you're from a Crystal Palace perspective, you would look at this game and say, if we're ever going to, not just to pick the Fulham, but they're not normally great on the road. This is a game that we have to get points from. You'd be looking coming out of this game and thinking, where are we going to get points from after this? Because this on paper is one of the games that if you are going to get something from, it would be something like this.
Yes, of course, Fulham aren't great on the road, but I should say, as Connor rightly said earlier, they did win at Sunderland on the opening day of the season. So this will be their second away win, Fulham, which means that they're probably doing as well away at the moment as they are at home anyway. Here at Palace, Jerome Thomas with the cross. And it's come back out to Jedinek, who's on the edge of the penalty area. Thomas, who curls another one in, but Stekelenburg is in the air there, and in fact I think he's got hands to it. It's a corner to Palace, Steve.
He did, yeah. I'm not sure. He might have probably just got his angle a little bit wrong there. He split the ball wide, and I think he probably could have just let that go, and it would have gone out of play anyway.
Well, Damien Delaney has come up for the corner. Mariappa is there again. It's going to be taken by Balassi for Crystal Palace on this near side. Palace 4-1 down, remember, as they take the corner down to our right. Palace have crowded the penalty area, but in doing so, a Fulham defender has headed the ball behind, so it's another corner to Crystal Palace. And they really are clutching at straws a bit here, I'm afraid, the promoting club. And Balassi puts the ball down again. Shamak is now, of course, one person who's been on a little while, who might be able to make an impact in the air, but not with a corner like that. It was a poor delivery by Balassi to the near post. Fulham got the ball away without any trouble. Balassi back again to Joel Ward at right back. Just looking at Palace's previous experiences in the Premier League, you know, this is the 5th time that they've come up, and the other 4 all lasted just one season, Steve.
Back down, yeah.
Now there's going to be a substitution by Fulham. Damien Duff coming on. And Darren Bent has gone off. Don't know quite what to make of that. You'd think you'd find Bent among the scorers when Fulham get 4, wouldn't you? Here's Balassi. Oh, and Joe Ward takes the ball off Richardson inside the Fulham penalty area. Ward shoots. One of Palace's better efforts, but it curls away.
I like him. Ex-Coffee boy. Come up here when Portsmouth, he's a local boy down there. Come up here when Portsmouth's financial woes gripped them, but he's been all right tonight. And great attitude, great character. Kept going and kept going. As I say, he's nothing but credit tonight for him.
Attendance tonight at Selhurst Park, 24,881. That's just about a sellout when you think of segregation and safety. 2,477 of those are Fulham supporters. And with 14 minutes to go, they're pretty happy. Their team lead 4-1. And this is Parker. Parker has played the ball square across the halfway line for Fulham, and Richardson is overlapping from left back. He's just inside the touchline on our near side of the field. That's the Fulham left. And it's played inside to Ruiz, and Ruiz has found Kasami, who's on the touchline by the corner flag for Fulham. Kasami, well, where did you place his goal against Sidwell's? I'm going to ask Steve Claridge in a minute. I'm sure he'll vote for Kasami because of the angle from which he volleyed it, but Sidwell's is pretty good as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Kasami's would be the one, wouldn't it?
I would have settled for either vote. It was a fair job, but there we go. Yeah, Kasami's has to be the one.
Crystal Palace 1, Fulham 4 at Selhurst Park, and this could also be a real dampener to Palace, not just because they're losing again, but because when you suffer a defeat like this at home, you have some picking up to do, don't you, of yourself? And
you wonder where the win's going to come from, John, don't you? When you go into a game like this, and clearly they were positive, they expected to get something from it, and you finish up getting a little bit of a hiding. You're looking forward to the other games and thinking, where are we going to get from?
Well, when Mark Chapman was talking to the Palace chairman earlier on tonight, if you weren't with us in our Monday Night Club hour, Steve Parish was quite adamant about Ian Holloway being the man to lead this club, wasn't he?
Yes. Things change.
I know. I'm not dropping any hints. I'm just saying it's a result that you don't want at home at any stage of the season, but particularly not now.
No.
Fulham have got a free kick on the far side of the field, just inside the touchline, and it's come to Berbatov. Berbatov, who floats in and out of games almost at will, but here comes Palace now, a strong run by Balassi, and Balassi's been pulled down. Lee Mason's an advantage, and Shamak crosses. Now can the referee have this back? I don't think he can. Jerome Thomas plays it back to O'Keefe. O'Keefe shoots! Oh, this has been saved by Stekelenburg. Now, in a position like that, the referee can't really win, can he? Because there was a foul, quite obviously. It would have been a good position for Crystal Palace to have a free kick, but they were on the run, weren't they? They were on the move with the ball. Anyway, here's Balassi again.
I think they've made their mind up about him, John, haven't they?
Yes.
I don't think this crowd's for turning.
You're talking about the referee, Lee Mason, aren't you? Yeah. Well, there's a cluster of players down on this near side now, and the referee has told him giving Palace a free kick, and there are ironic cheers, and I think he's going to get his book out. Is this the first booking of the evening? I think it is. And it's Kieran Richardson.
For the tackle that he didn't give.
It's still a foul, and it's still a yes, I see what you mean. He took the play back.
And it also works for the crowd as well.
It works for the crowd. So it's a yellow card for Kieran Richardson. Doesn't do much to harm Fulham's prospects in this game. We're coming now into the last 10 minutes, 10 or 11 minutes at Selhurst Park. It's still 4-1. There's the ball. Played into the Fulham penalty area. Oh, and now they do get a free kick on the edge. And this time he's pulled it back and given it. It's Shamak who's gone down.
Yeah, he's just got a little bit of a clip there. He's won the ball, he's just come through there with his elbow.
That's Amarabita, isn't it, who's fouled him? Yeah. So it's a free kick to Palace on the edge of the Fulham penalty area. Can they stage some sort of revival in the last 10 minutes at Selhurst Park? I just don't know. It's going to be Jedinak, is it?
No, it should be Jerome Thomas, right?
It might be. Shamak has walked away. There are three of them around the ball here. Balassi's there as well, actually. As Palace prepared to take this free kick, Fulham have pulled absolutely everybody back. Free kick. Jerome Thomas, is it? Oh, some jostling in the penalty area. And Jerome Thomas, and I have to say, having seen a lot of Jerome Thomas at West Brom, and before that Arsenal and Charlton, although he's always played on the left, he's a right-footed player, really.
He is, yeah, he can play with either foot. I'm sure he was at Pompey, John, as well, actually.
He may have been briefly.
He was.
Yes, I think perhaps he was, yes. West Brom for a while, wasn't he?
Yes.
Yeah. Ian Holloway still signalling frantically from the touchline here at Selhurst Park. But O'Keefe is rubbing his hands and trying to lift the Palace players around him. Now this is Sidwell for backheeled by Berbatov. Fulham really haven't got a lot of incentive now as they make progress down their left-hand side. I think this is a match that Palace will have to put behind them and almost start again because
can't keep doing that, though, John.
No,
you've got to make a stand, haven't you, somewhere?
You have, yes, I know. I've got some hard fixtures coming up as well.
Yeah.
Well, not that anything's easy in the Premier League. Here's Kasami for Fulham, edge of the Palace penalty area. Plays it to Kieran Richardson, who loses it to Joel Ward. Ward comes away with the ball, falls over, free kick Palace. It's fouled. It's Kasami who's committed the offence.
Yeah.
Is this going to be
forward tackle goal?
Is this going to be another yellow card?
No. I think it's just...
No. So... Only Richardson then I've got down as being booked here. I don't think anybody was booked in your spell, Connor. Were they? No, he's shaking his head. No yellows in while he was working. I haven't spotted another one. So just Richardson at the moment. Well, so that speaks well of the players in a way. It hasn't been a difficult game to control, I don't think, for Lee Mason. Here's Joel Ward for Crystal Palace. We're coming now into the last 8 minutes of this London derby on 5 Live on a Monday night football. And it's come as a shock to Palace, really, what's happened here, particularly the way they started. I know we have repeated this, Connor and I, but for those who still are just tuning into the last few minutes of the game, Mariappa gave Crystal Palace the lead. Kasami equalised with a belter. Sidwell made it 2-1 with a cracker. Berbatov made it 3-1 with a header. And Senderos made it 4-1 with a volley. That's exactly where we stand at the moment here. And
it's difficult to do justice, as you said, there, isn't it? Belter and cracker.
Palace have got a bit of a possession on here with Moxie. He's inside the penalty area. Well, it's a free kick the other way.
Who was that?
Well, that's quite
nice.
Yes, he did. It's Rita who was on the floor. Moxie did, yes he did, from behind. Well, Steve, we've talked a lot about where this will leave Palace. I mean, this could be a big lift for Fulham's season, couldn't it? Because, I mean, they've been tipped by a few people as being in deep trouble.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen probably both sides of them, why they have struggled on occasions this year, but you've also seen, I mean, they look a little bit of a confident side themselves, John, don't they? Because as soon as they scored, they look completely different as a team, wanting the ball, offering options for the man on the ball. It just simply wasn't there for them.
No, the bizarre thing was, in picking his team, Martin Jol was hoping that the Berbatov-Bent combination would give Palace trouble, but it didn't come from there, did it?
No, and as I say, I don't know whether they got that much better all of a sudden, or Palace just seemed to fall into a hole when they conceded the goal.
Oh, the players stopped. Shamak tried to set up O'Keefe there, but the referee had already blown. The crowd are very quiet now, aren't they? They gave Palace fantastic encouragement. Well, particularly at the start, of course, when they came out to glad all over and took the lead. But even then at half-time, after Fulham had gone 2-1 up, the crowd gave Palace a wonderful ovation as they went off. And then it all seemed to fold in the first few minutes of the second half.
Poor defending, John, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was poor defending. I thought, as you said, it, one or two things to ask Ian Holloway. And hang on, Berbatov's got the ball, he's breaking inside the Palace half, and he's got Kasami in a great position. He's got one! Brilliant save. That was nearly Kasami's second magic trick of the night. Lovely outside of the foot shot, curling towards the far corner, set up by Berbatov. Kasami, I thought he got a set. Oh, look at that. Great right-handed save by Speroni.
But John, that is shot with the outside of his left foot to bend it round into the far corner. That would have been up there with the first one if that had gone in. That is an unbelievable technique.
Well, he didn't have the best of seasons last year, Kasami, but he's certainly making an impact here for Fulham. They've lost the ball on the edge of the Palace penalty area, by the way. That could have been 5-1, but for the goalkeeper. Kevin Phillips trying to win possession now, and I think he's won a free kick just inside his own half here for Crystal Palace. It's a bit academic now, to be perfectly honest. Well, the Fulham player didn't retreat 10 yards. In fact, it's Kasami himself. Well, he really has lit the place up once or twice tonight, Taitem Kasami.
Two pieces of sublime skill.
Well, haven't they been? Absolutely. Sublime is the only word. Yeah, quite absolutely justified.
Brilliant.
And Shamak goes over the outstretched leg, does he? No, not even the Palace players appeal for a penalty there. We're into the last 3 or 4 minutes at Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace 1, Fulham 4. And here's a shot from distance by Moxey. Turned away by Stekelenburg. Ball goes out to the far side to Jerome Thomas. He crosses for Crystal Palace. Balassi comes in with the header. Why?
There's one or two first. I think both the fullbacks, Ward and Moxey, haven't done themselves any favours. They've kept going, kept trying. Good strike as well. Swerving. People just...
One thing I think it is fair to say about Palace is they've got quite a big squad, Steve.
Yes.
In as much as Ian Holloway has got options.
Yeah, but it's finding the right balance, Johnny. I said first game we came here, I think it'll be 10, 15 games before he finds the right system and the right team. And I'm going to go with that because he's not there yet, is he?
No, he's not. And as I said, as we've been saying all along, it just doesn't look very good, does it, in the morning papers, being 4-1 at home by a team who, at the start of the evening, were also in the bottom 4. So, it's been a bit of an eye-opener, really, for Crystal Palace, this one. Berbatov helping the ball on here, Parker. And I don't think there's much Palace can do. Well, there's absolutely nothing they can do about it now. Any hope of a comeback disappeared, really, when Palace failed to score in the 10 minutes following Fulham's fourth. And there was no way back after that, despite the substitutions. Long ball by Speroni, looking for Balassi, header by Amorabita. Fulham have possession with Parker. They'll be glad to have him back in action. Balassi picks it up for Palace, though, just outside the penalty area. Looked to be body checked, but again the referee's entitled to play on because Ward had the ball.
Does a good job, obviously, well from there. I know people question his ability at times. He does a wonderful job for them to allow the front post of Fulham to express themselves. There's all the horrible stuff, John, getting back and making life difficult on the important tackles. Really good. Had a good game tonight.
Ugo Rodallega will replace Dimitar Berbatov. in the closing minutes of this game. Exactly. I think we've only got 2 minutes of normal time left here. Martin Joel is giving Berbatov a thoroughly big hand clap as he leaves the field, scorer of one of the 4 goals. And a handshake as well from the boss as Roddy Jaeger comes on wearing number 20. Right wing cross by Ward for Crystal Palace, doesn't find its target, but now it's Balassi back again to Ward. Ward crosses to Kellenberg, won't have to come for that because his defenders in front of him are well marshalled, and it's Ruiz for Fulham who tries to get them on the move, and the ball runs out of play for a throw-in down to our right. And one of those sad moments, of course, when home fans start to leave before the final whistle, but you can understand why in this situation.
Haven't got on their backs though, John, have they? They've stayed with them. You know, there's not going to be, if they get relegated, it won't be because of the pressure and the, you know, and the unhappiness from the terraces, should we say?
No, I couldn't agree more about that. In fact, at a time when Palace really crumbled, you know, went 4-1 down, there are grounds where the home fans would have got on the team's back, but not here. Here's Jerome Thomas, left-hand side for Palace, far side of the field from us, the Palace left. Gets the ball back to O'Keefe. O'Keefe, the midfield player, looks forward, finds Shamak. Shamak's just outside the Fulham penalty area. Plays it back to O'Keefe. And there's Kevin Phillips who flicks it on, but it'll only go to the Fulham goalkeeper.
I think it harks back to what I was on about, John. You know, with Steve Parish, about they've come so far in such a short space of time. It's easy to forget all that's gone on before, those 2 or 3 years, and think we've had a couple of bad results in the Premiership. That, you know, that overrides everything. It doesn't. This club was nearly going out of business. Do you know what I mean?
Well,
yeah. And when you think they've got the ground back, the Premiership. What would they have taken 2, 3 years
Well,
ago?
you made that point when
you know
Steve Parish was here. He and his 3 colleagues bought the club in 2010 when it was about to fold.
To fold, exactly.
Yeah, and they bought the ground as well.
I think a lot of these remember that, and you know, this might be bonus time for them, John. Do you know what I mean?
I do.
People coming here.
I do, and I could say the same about Southampton, by the way, who almost crashed 3-4 years ago. Football has a funny way, doesn't it, of people's fortunes turning round. So that happens to your Portsmouth favourites. The ball on the far side of the field, it's come into Balassi. Balassi tries to slide in Kevin Phillips. We're into time added on for stoppages now, and I think there's going to be 3 minutes of that. A flick here by... Oh no, it wasn't in the end. I thought just for a moment there that Kasami was going to get in again for Fulham. Don't know whether he'll get the man of the match award. He probably deserves it just for that, well, for those 2 moments of what Steve Parish described as sublime skill. Free kick to Fulham in the middle of the field. This has been a bit of an academic exercise the last 15 minutes here. No sign of a Crystal Palace revival. Fulham completely in control, moving up in the table now quite happily, 4 places out of that, you know, drop zone, some people call it. It's a bit early for that, but it'll certainly improve their confidence as Stekelenburg takes the free kick for Fulham, and that's the referee has whistled, and nobody's quite... Oh, it is a final whistle. It is a final whistle. And it's all over. A hiatus there because people thought he'd given a free kick. However, let's just sum up tonight here on 5 Live. Crystal Palace in front after 7 minutes through Mariappa. 2 wonderful goals. Kasami and Sidwell put Fulham 2-1 up at half-time. Senderos and Berbatov early in the second half. 4-1 Fulham. I suppose the question has to be, Steve Claridge, where does it leave Palace?
Well, at least I don't know where where they can go from here, simply because, as I said, I mean, Fulham aren't infamously, you know, haven't got a great record on the road. This is a game definitely they would have identified. You could see that by the system and the players that he put out. He thought he could go and win this game and be nice and positive. And I don't know, I would be concerned about, certainly not the first 15 minutes, there was a lot of positive, but the way that they just, their body language and the whole thing just went completely, the whole complexion of the game changed with the goal that they conceded. And that just shows how fragile they are in regards to confidence. Now, those small things like that can affect them in massive ways. So, yeah, I mean, that's something that would concern me, but yeah, it's a bit of a rout at the end of the game. We said it's over now. It's been over for quite a while, unfortunately, for Palace.
We watch a lot of football, don't we? We go to a lot of different grounds and see different clubs at different levels. I have to say, there aren't many sets of supporters that would applaud their manager and team off after a 4-1 home defeat. And I think that backs up something that we've discussed a lot this evening about the realism that there is here at Selhurst Park. And the owner, chairman, manager, fans are probably all pulling in the same direction.
Yeah, I mean, be optimistic, but be realistic, Mark. And honestly, when they came up, with the amount of money there to spend, the amount of players that came in, they knew it was never going to be a quick fix. It was always going to be difficult from the start. I think people are just staying with them. There will come a point when there'll be a little bit of dissension, there's no doubt about that, but now is not our time. What he'll have a decision to make, okay? They look like they're going to get relegated, he will have a decision. Do I stay with Ollie, we get relegated, and ask him to bring me up, or do I get to a point in the stage of the season where I go, do you know what, we're going to have a guy that's staying up, and I'm going to have to change. And that's something that, if it carries on like this, he'll have to think about. But they haven't lost the crowd, have they, sir?
They haven't. And there are positives, Motty, from some of that game. It's a long time since I've seen a goal take the wind out of the team's sails, because up until that point, they were definitely the better side.
Yes, if you're looking for consolation for Crystal Palace, Mark, I'd say the return of Balassi, who I thought certainly early in the game was very positive, and he continued to be when he could in the second half. I think they're going to need him and that wide service coming in more than ever now. I mean, he's a key figure for them, and I just think you're right about the crowd, of course, but I don't think we should forget Fulham in this situation, because they were awful for 15 minutes, but once that wonderful goal went in from Kasami, they were a different team. And in the Premier League, if you win 4-1 away, you deserve a bit of credit, whoever you're playing.
That's the point. They actually looked like they were being outnumbered in midfield for that first 15-20 minutes, didn't they? Yeah. Because they had Sidwell and Parker up against the three that Crystal Palace had for that time. And yet, in the second half, they dominated.
They did. I mean, what you had was you had four at the back against Gale, and the two fullbacks didn't push on. So all of a sudden they're so outnumbered when they look forward. But that wasn't the case. As soon as they scored the goal, all of a sudden there was a different looks there. They played between the lines. Bergsoff then started to come off. There was movement down the wings. People came and joined. There was, as the ball went forward, there were runners going past, and there was that confidence and that belief in each other's play that we didn't see early on in the game. So there was a lack of confidence, certainly from a Fulham perspective at the start of this game, but the goal just buoyed them such that it had the opposite effect on Palace, unfortunately.
If you're a Crystal Palace fan and you just got back to your car having left Selhurst Park, it'd be good to hear from you about the solidarity that it feels like there is here at Selhurst Park between fans and owner and Ian Holloway. 0500 909 693, and whether you feel that will stand you will stand you in good stead in the long run for this football club. Not just talking about this season, but in the long run. 0500 909 693. We're in a very privileged position here, aren't we, Steve? In that, for the Kasami goal in the first half, I've got a direct line of it, and for his shot in the second half, we're again right behind it.
Yeah, I mean, it is very difficult to do it justice, isn't it? We can talk about it or not.
Well, you came up with the Van Basten goal in '88, and I've got to say, it's as good a comparison as I can think of.